Hello, good morning. Welcome to Stamp and Chat. Today is the 7th of June and this morning I am going to be creating some cards using the This Birthday Piggy stamp set, which is from the annual catalogue. Bear with me while I check that I'm live in the right place. And we will wait for a moment to see who is hopping by. Excuse the mess behind me. I'm in the process of kit cutting, so I've kind of just stopped to do my live, and I've got kits all in front of the tables in front of me, all laid out, ready to get sorted. I've still got to finish cutting. Good morning, Lucianne. How are you doing? Funny weather out there today. It was a bit damp. In fact, when we got up at 6:30, it was really misty, which I guess is a bit of a sign that the sun could be coming out later, but it's really damp out there, and you know my hair doesn't like the damp or the flyaway hair that is happening. So Luciana, are you working today? Children back at school? I know some had an inset day yesterday. I don't know whether that affected you, but I know in your local area there was an inset day for some of the schools. So yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Usual tiredness. Feeling a bit battered from gardening at the weekend. Aching joints, and I got pierced loads of times from, I was tidying up a border that's got fruit bushes in, and it's right next to a hawthorn hedge, and of course there were lots of broken off branches like down in the bed of the border, and when I was like picking up dead leaves and stuff, I kept piercing myself. So right, children have got a day off today. Oh no, you've got a day off today, sorry, and the children went back to school yesterday. Okay, good. Well, I hope you all had a fabulous weekend. Right, I am going to get down to business because I may have to run out after the live to go and see the grandchildren. Might be rescuing with a pushchair shortage. So Julie, hello all the way from New Zealand. How are you doing? It's good that you've managed to catch me live, and it's this evening for you. So how is your weather doing over there? We are beginning of June, so we should be having some decent weather, but it's very up and down at the moment. So I think temperatures are going to rise a little. We've had a lot of real heavy rain, which is great for the garden. It means some mornings I'm not having to go down there at 7 and water all the vegetables, which is good. Just have to sort the greenhouse. So anyway, enough chat. Let's make some room and get you turned down to my desk. I've got stuff everywhere. So bear with the palm of the hand while I just turn you down. Get everything moved into position. Oh, that looks a bit topsy-turvy. I think my phone isn't located very well. In my stand, it's in there a bit crooked. We'll wait for catch-up and see what happens. Move this chair out of the way because I am very static at the moment. Oh, let's move that. I am very static. Let's move that planner out of the way. Could come over a little bit. Yeah, I seem to be getting static shocks off of everything I'm touching. Don't know that. Maybe that's the weather as well. Maybe that's to do with the weather. Right, view isn't looking too bad. So this morning, I promised last week that I would step away from the florals and do something a little different. So I thought I would pull out this Birthday Piggy, which is a real kind of good all-rounder for adults and for the young ones as well. And I always feel like it's tricky, you know, with children of a certain age, you know, like not maybe teenagers, but between like that 8 and 12 age, sometimes it's tricky to know what to create with them. But I think these work for adults and children. So quite a multi-purpose set. Right, let's get this grid taped down. And great for masculine and feminine as well. And it's fun. And of course, it involves a bit of colouring in, which we all love, hopefully. Right, grid is going down. So This Birthday Piggy from the new annual catalogue is on page 55. It's £22 and you've got 11 stamps in there, and it's red rubber. It's a cling stamp set. Okay, and I thought I would pull back in these lovely papers that I used last week and continue with a little bit of brightness from me, which is not necessarily your bright, but quite bright from me. These are, I think they're called the Butterfly Kisses. Actually, I did put a marker in my book. Page 131, really sweet prints on there, lovely colours. And they're 6x6, so a little bit different to the usual 12x12, but you get 48 sheets in there, so lots of possibilities. So I'm going to be using some of those, put those back out of the way, bring in the colour combo of the day. So we've got Starry Sky, Fresh Freesia and Soft Seafoam. So Julie, you've had a fabulous autumn, fantastic autumn even, but it's starting to get frosty in the mornings. Oh, I do like a cold frosty morning. I don't mind a bit of frost, but there has to be a blue sky and a bit of sunshine that comes with it. So, you know, as long as, I always feel as long as you're prepared and dressed for the weather, then it's fine. It's when you're changing seasons, isn't it? And you're coming from one to another and you're trying to adjust. I think that is when it's the hardest. Right, the other thing I've pulled out are some blends. So we've got So Saffron, Fresh Freesia, Petal Pink is this? Petal Pink, yeah, I was going to say Pale Papaya, and Soft Seafoam. So I've got light and dark of all of those. And I will, of course, be using my Memento because that's what we use when we are using the blends pens. So let's get these ready. Now, I have got 3 cards for you today. I've done a bit ahead of time. So there's a bit of fussy cutting going on. It wouldn't be a live from me without some fussy cutting, would it? So let's just adjust that light. Let's bring in the first kit. So here in the UK, we've had a lovely long bank holiday weekend, which began on Thursday. So usually we have bank holidays on Friday or a Monday, but we had an extra one thrown in to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. So we had Thursday and Friday off. So it's been like it feels strange. It's been a very, very long weekend. Good morning, Kate. How are you doing? So, and there's been lots of celebrations going on. We've been to a couple of events. We've done stuff with family. So yeah, it's been really lovely. A couple of extra days to get on top of the gardening. Okay, first card is basic white base. In fact, I think all of my cards are basic white. They're quite fresh and crisp. And as always, it measures 5 3/4 by 8 1/4, and I've just folded it right down the middle. The next layer that's going on, and I need to do some stamping before I waffle too much further, but the next layer, just for some measurements, is 2 3/4, which is a magic number, by 4 1/8. So both magic numbers there. So if I grab a sheet, let's just grab a sheet of cards. I have told you this before. So 4 1/8 is half of a sheet of our cardstock here in the UK. Now this is different to American sizes. Their A4 is slightly different in size. So you would get 2 that way, but if you did it this way at 2 3/4, you'd actually get 3 across here. So 2 3/4 is a good measurement, but also 4 1/8 because it's halfway down your cardstock. So one couple of measurements that I use a lot on my projects. Okay. Other items I'm just using from here, I think the little tiny flower dies from the sending dies because they're so pretty and so delicate. And then, of course, the stylish shapes are back again. So more use from those. Cost per use will be almost at nothing already because I just pull them out all of the time. Right, let's start with some stamping because we need to allow a bit of time. I don't need my mat actually, do I, at the moment? We need to allow a bit of time for this to dry because I like, we'll need my sheet though. I like to set my stamp to dry, my stamped image, before I actually colour in with my memento. Just to let it kind of absorb into the cardstock and just to kind of diffuse any bleeding that might happen. So I'm going to pop in this scrap just for now. I know it's a bit of a grubby one, but we're going to reuse it. I'm going to ink up this cute little piggy with birthday cake, let's turn it that way, and balloon. So I'm just inking with memento and I want to stamp it. I'm not bothering about fitting it on the paper because I'm going to be cutting this out with a die. So if I stamp it up a bit, because I need to get the bottom in. So I've just stamped it down like that. And then from the Stylish Shapes, I wanted to cut it out with a circle, and I think I've used that one there. So we'll cut that out first and then we'll let it sit for a minute to dry off. So I'm not worried about that balloon at the top because all will be clear very soon. So I think I could done with going a little bit lower, but I think we'll be okay. Let's see if we can just move it a bit. How much of the die can I let overhang the edge? We'll leave it at that. That will be fine. I'm just going to run that through quickly. Move that ink out of the way. Carefully peel the washi off so we don't tear it. And then we're left with this cute little piggy. So how did you guys get on at the weekend? Those of you that were celebrating the Jubilee, did you do something extra special? Would be lovely to know. And then the other thing I want, I'm just locating a scrap. That will be more than enough. Bring this back in. I want to stamp just the balloon. So I'm just going to ink up the balloon and stamp that down. So I've literally just taken the balloon. You can see where I'm going to be going with that. Let's put the lid on that memento. Lucy-Anne, you went to Somerset on Friday and had a wedding on Saturday. Oh, how fun. How lovely. How lovely for those people to be celebrating their wedding that weekend. Okay, next, let's do a bit more stamping. I will need my mat for this one, just to allow this to dry even longer. And I've pulled in a greeting set just to go with this. I haven't used this for such a long time and I love it, absolutely love it. So I've just pulled in the word happy and I've mounted it ready. So this is a photopolymer set. So we can actually see through where we're going with this. And I want to ink up the word happy. And I've cut a strip of cardstock that is just a bit wider than the actual stamped image. So I think I've cut it at 1 1/8. So, and you can see it's literally 1 inch. If my thumb was out of the way, it's 1 inch. So I've just cut this, if I remember right, at 1 1/8. And we're going to stamp down. And I cannot see what I'm doing. That was quite quite a lot of ink on there, Kerry, but I think it'll be okay. We will go with it. It was rather heavy-handed. That wasn't too bad. It's quite straight considering I cannot get my head completely over because my camera is in the way. So we're just going to snip off the ends of that one. May want to trim off a teeny bit more. In fact, that one I'm just going to run on my trimmer because it needs to be straight. If it's not straight, it will look a bit odd because of the Y. And then I need another greeting from this set. So what I love is that we do have extra greetings in here. We've got the lovely 3 pig images, and then we've got some different greetings that we can use. So all I want, in fact, I could probably use this little scrap. I've pulled in the It's Your Birthday, and I just want the word birthday. And we can probably, I didn't mount my sticker very well on here. That will be fine. I don't know if you can see, but my sticker's actually hanging off the edge of the foam. So when I go to stamp, the actual wordage is higher up on the rubber. So when you're not stamping greetings with photopolymer, you do have to, you know, be a bit aware about how you're stamping, or to make it much easier, die cut it out with a label or something. So let's just trim around here. There's a fly buzzing around in here, very annoying. Don't know if you can hear it. I know my microphone's really good on this phone. Oh, that was a bit crooked. Don't even know if you can see what I'm doing. Okay. A bit crooked, but I think it'll be okay. Right, what is next? Oh, let's have a quick look at greetings before we start doing a bit of colouring. Kate, you met with your neighbours on the green outside your house. How lovely. Yeah, I do remember you've got a large green at the front of your house. Oh, it got spoilt by the rain and you had to go in at 6. But you got to know some new neighbours. That's great. It's always good meeting new neighbours, and a great opportunity to do that as well, wasn't it? Sophie had a street party on Saturday afternoon and it got rained off. So, but funny enough, they're not far from here. We didn't have that rain here. So we did go down on Saturday to the deli, the hub where I do my coffee and card. They were having like a mini beer and cider festival and hog roast. So we went down there and they had all chairs out, which they've usually got out. You can, you know, eat out there. And we sat and had a drink. I didn't do the hog roast. That's not really my thing, but Jason, he was looking forward to it. So we were out for a little bit, but thankfully we had a spit of rain, but nothing to kind of drive everyone away. Vicky, it's freezing. Snowing in the Blue Mountains. How beautiful. Hello, Vicky, by the way. I don't think I'd seen you come in. Okay, right. I'm going to park my bottom. Let's put that catalogue out of the way for a mo. And do a little bit of colouring. Don't know if I need to zoom you in on this. But I'm colouring in my pig using the Petal Pink. And I literally just go, I try not to, even though I've let this kind of dry, try not to go over the stamped lines. And there's no delicateness to my colouring in. I just want it coloured in. And with these pens, that's the beauty of them. You don't have to be like some creative artist to use them. Just colour with them. That's what they're there for. And then I'm going to take the dark, and I just want to add I'm going to do his snout in the dark and the inside of his ear. I'm saying his. And then I'm just going to kind of pull those two colours together. So a bit of dark just around here by his tummy, where there would be shadow, and then just pull pull that colour out so it kind of blends a little bit. Have a little bit of dark under his arm. And then with the pale, we'll just pull that colour out. And then maybe a little bit above his other ear, you know, where you would imagine there to be a bit of shadow, just to make him look a little bit, a bit more realistic. And then we'll give him a bit of a rosy cheek. So super quick. If I put the right lids on, otherwise I will confuse myself. I find it very tricky with the pale colours to determine which lid goes on which pen. So I am no great colour inner, for want of a better word, but just a little bit of shading makes a massive difference. Now, the So Saffron Dark, I'm just going to use for the flame on the candle. And I'm going to colour in my cake with the Fresh Freesia. So I'm going to start with the light, which it does come out quite dark, but it does dry. Remember, these are alcohol markers, so it will kind of dry a little bit lighter. Who loves the Stampin' Right markers? I absolutely adore them. Gradually building up my colour palette of them. I do tend to go for the more pale colours. No surprise there really, is there? And I do tend to use mostly, I can't get the lid off, the bullet tip on here. So we do have a gorgeous brush tip, which is signified by a dark, thick line compared to the thin line for the brush tip. But I just find I have more control with this, with the bullet. I think I might have said thin line for brush tip then, but I meant the thin line is for the bullet. So I'm just going in with a darker, and then I'm going to add just a little teeny bit of shadow under there, and maybe just pull that in a little bit, because there isn't a massive difference between these two. Let me just colour them on a scrap. So here's light. Although when I colour them like that, there does look like there is a big difference. And then if you kind of pull the two together, that's when I feel there isn't a massive amount of difference between them. So, love our blends. So how quick was that? Really, really quick and easy to colour in. I might just add a little bit of light soft seafoam here, just to the base. I didn't do that on my original, but cute colours together, aren't they? Very cute. Very me, aren't they? As you would all say, very Kerry. So I just coloured him in, and then I'm going to pull back in the So Saffron, colour in the bloom. Again, trying not to go over these lines on my image, just to help with any bleeding that might occur. And then I'm just going to add a bit of the darker colour, and then where the lines meet, just kind of pull those together, just to add a bit of shadow. Okay, so just to give us a little bit of depth. And do I need to fussy cut that one out? Or I will do this one, but I have got others. I'll tell you what I didn't do. Just to colour that bottom part. And let's just snip around this one. It's a bit tricky doing that bottom snip, but to be honest, you could leave it off, especially if you're layering like I am. Cardstock is getting in the way. So it looks a bit untidy down there at the bottom, but once that is in place, you will not even notice. Hello, Margaret. How are you doing? You like the piggies? They're cute, aren't they? They're so cute. I mean, this is great for masculine cards. And even, you know, I was saying about teenagers, but even teenagers, this would be a cute one. I just think it's really sweet. And I've done so much floral lately. Floral and foliage. That's probably what I'm known for. Using the subtles and foliage and flowers. I thought let's bring in something a little bit different today. Vicky, you love the blends. I know, aren't they amazing? They are fabulous. Right, we can start putting this one together. So all three of my cards today are using the same kind of concept. And basically, I've just cut myself 3 strips from this paper. Now, there's a few that I haven't used, but by cutting into it like this, it does go a long way. So I've literally cut myself 3 strips. I think I did one at 3/4 of an inch, and then a couple at about 1/2 inch or 5/8, 1/2 inch, and then I've chopped them in half at 3. Okay, so that is literally, it doesn't join because they're separate pieces. So I would get from each strip, I've managed to get 2 cards from it. So there is a meaning to my madness and stretching my paper to go further as well. So my little layer of fresh freesia, do you remember it was 4 1/8? Let's put the pens away out of the way for the moment. 4 1/8 by 2 3/4. Those 2 magic numbers. My Tombow is still going. It's getting low, but it's still going. I'm hoping today I won't have to gouge out any dried pieces that are left in the nozzle. I've had to do the last 2 Facebook Lives showing you how to salvage a Tombow that isn't wanting to flow. And then all I'm going to do is pop these strips. I mean, they are pretty on the back. I didn't even show you the reverse of those. Beautiful colours. So this is where my colour combination came from today. Now, obviously, we've got Parakeet Party in here, which is quite scary for me. And that's why I've toned down any green that I'm using. I've toned down with soft sea foam, because even though they're not the same green, they will kind of blend. Got something popping up on my screen. Go away from Microsoft. And then I'm going to lay this one. This is a great way as well of using up any scraps that you have. So don't just think, why do we look crooked? Don't just think that you have to cut these pieces to size. Pull out any scraps that you've got and find colours that coordinate together and use them up. Make use of them. We were talking last time about using up pieces that are left on our desk, and I do quite often do that. Challenge yourself to use up the scraps. Okay, so I've just laid down at the top of my card those pieces, and then on here I'm going to just add some dimension to the back. 3 will be enough in a triangle, just to balance them out a little. How cute. And then we're going to pop this one down at the bottom of our card, hoping you can see what I'm doing, because I'm concentrating on what I'm doing and not looking what you can see. I think you can. I've left my drink over in the barn as well, which isn't good. So next, my little balloon, we'll pop a dimensional on that one as well. So my point of this is, if you haven't got a die cut that is big enough to take a stamped image that you've got, then make it work for you. You know, let your image overhang even and cut around it. So there's always a way. And then we'll take our word happy. Do I want to trim any more? Seems like a lot of white space. I'm just going to take a slither off of either end. A teeny weeny slither. You won't even notice, but I will. And then we'll pop a couple of dimensionals on the back of here. Yes, I think the weather here is looking very grey. The mist is gone. It was very misty at 6:30. Very, very misty. Quite pretty, actually. Well, as I walked around the garden, I wandered down to the compost bin to get rid of some vegetable offcuts. I'm just going to pop this one up here. And we've got a lot of trees here and a lot that are really in need of trimming, and we've got some low branches. And the cobwebs were white where the mist was on them. I did get a few facefuls of wet cobwebs on my route down the garden, which wasn't very pleasant. But didn't have to water anything, because Mother Nature had sorted that for me. Everything was looking very, very damp down there, but I will have to water later because the green beans do like to drink a lot. Have we got any growers out there? Any of you like growing? Right, let's just add our birthday in here. Straight would be good. So just to finish, do you remember I said I was going to be using from the Sending dies? So this goes with the Sending Smiles. This little flower die, which cuts two at the same time. So I'm just going to take a scrap to just push those middle pieces out. They tend to get stuck in. And I'll just run that through really quickly. Back and forth. And just push. See, there's a little, got two holes here. One pushes out the centre of the flower and the other pushes out the flower itself. Should they stick in? Can't pick anything up today. So yeah, I do love how sweet these flowers are. I need another, but I've already got some cut. So just take my Take Your Pick tool. And then I'm just going to add a bit of Tombow in like a triangle. I'm going to give these like a little pinch so they're quite upright. And then move them around a little bit on that glue, because we don't want loads of glue under there. And plus, when they're curved like this, they're easier to handle. So I'm just going to move it around so that the base of that centre of the flower gets Tombow on it to hold it in place. So I'm just like pinching it up. And then kind of wiggling it around, and we'll leave that for a couple of seconds while I locate some embellishments. Quick look at the... Margaret, have you created with the piggies yet? Have you inked them up? This was my first... Of course, this always happens on a live. This was my first play with these piggies. Haven't made anything else with them. Literally just these cards. So hoping I'm going to be able to set these down without pulling up these flowers, because they're not really stuck yet. So I'm just putting plain pearls on here. I did colour them on my original, and I'll show you. This one has not stuck yet, but they're in place. So quite not bright for you guys, but quite bright for me, quite fun. And if you switched out this colour here, the Fresh Freesia, and coloured in the cake in a different colour, you could quite easily turn this into a masculine card. You could maybe substitute the flowers for stars or something. So sure, you've got some star shapes. So this is my original. I coloured in my pearls with the So Saffron blends. Can you see the difference? I'm not sure if I prefer it yellow or white. Quite like the yellow. So remember that with your blends, because they're alcohol markers, you can colour in your pearls with them. So if you need a colour that you haven't got, then you'll be well away, because if you've got alcohol markers, they're Stampin' blends, the world will be your oyster with your embellishments. Okay, we are moving back more to my kind of colours for the next card. So, same 3 strips from that paper pack. Just random, but I've cut them at 3, okay? So I did cut them at 3. But as I've said, pull out any scraps, strips. I know you've all got them. I know I am not the only one. We all keep those little strips of pattern paper. We don't like to throw them away, do we? So first of all, I'm going to fold my base. So again, another basic white. And then I'm going to do my stamping so that we can let this dry for a minute, because I haven't coloured this one in already. And this time we're going to use the same same little piggy. Hello, Belle. How are you doing, my lovely? You've been lurking. That's okay. You're allowed to lurk. I know not everybody is able to comment. It depends how you're watching, whether you're supposed to be working, because I do see little names pop up now and then on my phone. And I understand, if you can't chat, that's just the way it is. Or if you're busy, having stuff on in the background is good company. So I've just cut a random square here. What I'm going to do is stamp it straight down with the memento, and then we'll set that to dry for a moment. So I've just stamped it straight down. Now, I don't use these that often because I just love the circles, but I thought we would use one of the squares for this one, and I think that's the one that I've pulled out. Honestly, I cannot tell you enough how useful this die set is. It really needs to be on your wish list. So we're just going to trim out this little piggy. Somebody's snoring away under the table. Oh, I see sunlight trying to make an appearance as I get up and turn around. It did say we may have a bit later. Okay, gently pull that one out. Yeah, he's having a good old snore down there. He's eating his breakfast as well today, so all is good. Archie isn't here for a couple of days. Sophie's friend graduated, so she's gone away for a couple of days. So, but I fear, and I'm sad to say this, but I think possibly by the end of the week, maybe, or next week, she'll be moving back in and the bathroom will be complete. So cute, hey? Right, what do I need to do before we let him dry a little bit longer? Okay, so soft seafoam layer. Oh, I've got stuff everywhere. Let's have a bit of a tidy up. Bone folders, rulers. Now, in the set, I told you we've got three little piggies in here, and these flowers be really useful as well to sort of mask out and use with any of the other images on here. But I've pulled out this stamp set, and I just want to make sure that it is clean. How cute How cute. What I'm going to do is pull back in this very well used piece, pull out my soft sea foam, and what I want from this image is just all this confetti here at the bottom. I just want that for the time being. So hopefully you can see I'm just inking that bottom corner. Now I have got it on the back of the bike there, so I need to be careful not to put that on. So we'll have one there, got a little bit there, but that will be fine. And another bit there like that, a bit more, and then in the opposite corner we'll just do the same. So can you actually see what I'm doing? Yes. So just taking the confetti, a little bit more around the corner. Give that a clean in my chamois, because I will need that in a moment. And then I've just created myself a little bit of background interest for this layer. So while that's drying, we can add in our little strips. I think this is my favourite sheet. I have a few favourites. I really like this one, but it's very bold. And I really like this one. So maybe it's not my favourite. It's one of my favourite sheets. In fact, these are two different ones. So let's pull in, move that out of the way. Move the chair for the moment. And let's do exactly the same. So kind of same layout as my previous card. 3 strips, and we're just randomly, let's try and get straight. Randomly laying them down. Bit of a larger gap between these. Is that even straight? Because the top one really needs to be straight, because I'm going to be following that for the next. One. Went all quiet then. The concentration. And then the final one just below. Like that. Let's just have a little check. I think all is good. And these are just, I didn't measure these 2 pieces. I know this one is 3/4, but that's why I've said just take pieces from your scraps and you will be fine. Right, I've got one more little bit of stamping to do. And I have to pull that scrap in again. I've got a brand new piece, but I'm reluctant to use it. That's daft, isn't it? Let's pull this one back in. Open up the memento. And what I want to do is just, I'm just looking for the flag. Okay. I just need the flag on this one. Let's use the bottom of the card, and then we won't get any more waste than we need. Okay. So we've got that one there. And it's already got our greeting on there, so we don't really need to add anything else to it. Right, let's lay this one onto our base. I don't know if I gave you the measurement for this one, but I will do when it's on. So it's just going centrally. So of course we haven't got an even border all the way round, it's wider. Apologise for those of you who like working in centimetres. I just can't do it. So it's 3.5 inches by 4 5/8. I've just actually been doing the tutorial for my Sending Smiles class, and working in inches with that, I just find it so much easier. That will be coming up very soon as well. I've almost finished the PDF tutorial. I've just got to film the class and then that will be coming up, and it will be heading on to my website, www.kerrytims.co.uk, and over on the right hand side, the tab at the top, something here is bugging me, there's a section which says for sale, not a section, it's a tab. If you click on that, it's a drop down menu, and there is one for tutorials, and there is only one on there at the moment. My suite is a peach class, but I do have a video that I can attach to that as well. So, right, let's sit for a minute and do some colouring. Pull back in some pens. Really quick bit of colouring. Let's colour in this piggy. You can see that I don't really... You don't need to take too much care with your colouring, really, with these pens. They kind of just do the work for you, and they kind of bleed into the paper. So if you do not go right to the edge of something, like when you're colouring flowers and delicate bits, if you don't even go right to the edge, it kind of bleeds into it for you. So I'm just going to add some like accent with the dark, and then kind of pull the colours together with the light. So we'll add a bit of shadow under his arm, and then kind of pull that colour out so it blends into like the pale. What have I got here? Light. I always forget which colours I'm using. Give him a rosy cheek. Lid's back on. Remember, lid's always back on because they will dry. Haven't done his snout. Just add a bit more depth to there. And then we'll do the cake again the same. Colour in the flame. So it's really quick, really quick colouring. I've got light. You know, you don't need to spend hours colouring. If you haven't got our blends, you could watercolour these in. And then we'll just accent with the darker on the top, on the plate, and then just a little bit around the icing around the cake, and that one is done. We'll add a bit of green in, just because we can, just to ground it a bit. I know some people like to edge their line images like this with like a grey or a pale blue to kind of make them pop. Right, so let's add this on to our card. I feel like I'm speed crafting today. I don't know why. I think I might have to be heading out to rescue Coles with my pushchair, because Jack's gone off to work and he's got the pushchair with him. So I think I can have a vision of her looking like a pack horse on the school run this morning. Right, this one here I've already done, so that you didn't have to watch me fussy cut around that. So I'll save that one for later. And I've already done myself a balloon as well. So we'll pop the balloon on first. And just like decoupage that one up there. And then with the flag, I'm just going to curl the first part under and then turn it around and curl the other way, so we kind of get this like ripple effect. And then pop a dimensional like on the highest part. Got Tombow on my fingers. And I'm going to trim off a teeny weeny bit, and I'm going to add it onto my cake like that. And then to finish, some more flowers. I just love Love these colours. So fresh. But again, visualise in colours of your own. If you're not really into subtles and you like the brights, visualise it in your bright colours. So maybe, oh, that's Tombow. Get that off. Otherwise everything will be sticking to me. Yeah, visualise it in different colours. And I did do that last week. I created some cards that I thought were quite bright and a bit out of my comfort zone. And then I recreated in colours that I'm enjoying at the moment to show the difference. Just make sure you're stuck. Let's give these a little press. And then we need to get on some pearls with them out without them coming off. Not seeing any comments. Don't know whether you're all just quiet and lurking like Belle. Right, I'm going to use a medium size one. Otherwise I'm going to run out of all the small ones and just be left with larger ones. Be careful how I put that one on because there's still a bit of wet Tombow. Oops, that one is definitely still a bit wet. So we'll let that dry. But how sweet. I don't know if that's ink or, don't know what that is on the piggy, but it's fine. So really fresh. Julie, you're just relaxing watching me, oh bless you. And my original, pretty much the same. So think about your scraps, think about, you know, if subtles aren't for you, how you can, you know, make these. I do like these petals like to be really popping up. How you can make them more, you know, in your colour palette and how different they'll look as well. So always think of that. You know, I am here to inspire, hopefully. And then the rest is up to you, you know, steal my layout, steal my colours if you like, but it's sometimes nice to have a bit of a head start with something. So love those. I have in my eyes saved the best till last because I think it's the cutest. But I'll let you decide on that one. How are we doing for time? Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay. I've done a lot of work ahead of this one because I didn't want to have you painfully watching me cutting and colouring. So I've done a little bit. So again, basic white layer, very crisp cards today. And I've got two lots of scraps, but I don't know why. I have, oh I do, got my 3 strips again. This time using, now what is the colour in here? I've got a feeling it's crushed curry. And obviously I'm using, let's have a look. I'm using soft, so saffron I mean. But yeah, this is definitely crushed curry. Don't have any blends in that colour. So for, you know, the additions I'm using my so saffron. But they kind of all blend. They go together. Love that little like ditzy flower pattern. Right, this one here is for my stamping, so we're going to go ahead and do that one first. And I've pulled out the final piggy image. Kate, you're definitely lurking. Yeah, that's it. You've got to see what you've got that can be, unless you're a piggy lover and you've got to have the sets. I'm sure you'll have other stuff. So I'm just inking up. I think this one's sweet. She looks very content there. And I'm going to pop it. I'm going to die cut this out, so I have no idea if it's going to be too high, too low, but we shall see. These do stamp beautifully as well. Pull in the dies. check which size. I should imagine it's this one. And we'll just cut that one out. Only just, again, I did it a little bit low, didn't I? But it will work. We'll make it work. Just cut that one out real quickly. Just always find a use for these circles and banners and squares. That didn't quite work, did it? Can you see I was a bit low, wasn't I? But it's just as well that I have one that I've done earlier. That will not be wasted because we could simply pop something over the bottom of that. So if you ever get anything like that, don't just throw it away. You will find a use for it. I was just way too low on my stamping of that, on the placement of the original piece that I had. Right, the other thing I need some more piggies. Let's bring in that scrap again. And I need this chappy here. So just give that an ink. So I need him. I don't want his motorcycle today. That will be coming later. I just think there's so many possibilities. And I think you could add flowers and foliage in with these piggies. They will look really sweet. And then I just want this little piggy here, like that. I should have inked the whole of that really, because I also need a cake. So I've got my 2 piggies and then the cake. Can put the lid on that. I've done a bit of colouring and cutting ahead of time, but these will get used later for sure. So let's just take a seat for a minute, pull back in these pens. And have a quick colour in. So what are you all up to today? Start with the light. What are you all up to? Kate, how did your weekend go with the grandchildren? I know we have spoken about it. Have you recovered? It's tiring. I was with the grandchildren yesterday for a few hours in the afternoon, and it was, you know, it is tiring. By the time I got home, it was, there was something wrong with the traffic. I don't know what was going on. It was just very heavy, unusually. Didn't get in until just before 7, about 10 to 7, and then had to cook dinner. So I'm just adding, as before, a bit of depth, and we'll add some where this little piggy is lying. I feel like it should be lying in mud, but today it's not. It's going to be lying in a bed of grass. And then we'll do the snout in the dark. Little rosy cheek. Done with those. A bit of soft sea foam for the grass. Thought I could hear the ducks flying over then. There we go. And then I think we'll use light petal pink on the flowers, on the petals. Oh, my eyes don't want to focus. I really think I need to have them tested again, although I think I was saying this the other week. It feels like it wasn't long ago that I had them tested, but you know how time flies. And on this one, I'm going to colour in the centres with the So Saffron bit of green on the leaves. And I think we're done. Hoping I've got everything. How cute is this little piggy? It was Monday to Thursday, Kate. You didn't sleep well as you were worried you wouldn't hear them. I know, I'm a light sleeper anyway. You're going to have them again in the summer. That is so lovely. That's it. When you've got working parents, you've got to do what you can, haven't you? We do a little bit to help out. Right, what is next? So we've got this little piggy. I've got a layer of soft sea foam here in 3 7/8 by 1 3/8. So the 3 7/8 means it just sits on the front of my card. But I thought I'd pull in one of my new embossing folders. These are the, let's get the other one. Elegant Eucalyptus. Maybe you'll see, I don't know if you can see better with the white behind, maybe not. But they are so pretty. I just thought we would run this one through to act as like a bit of foliage behind. So about there, I think. I'll just run that through quickly. Swap my plates around. And these are the 3D ones. They're very thick and very sturdy. And we've just added in a little bit of something extra. I'm going to pop this one straight. In fact, the reverse is beautiful on here. Pop that straight down onto our base, just a little bit up from the bottom. Like that. Hoping that it's straight. And then we'll take our strips. They're quite pretty on the other side, but very parakeet party. But aren't those colours lovely together? And can you see how it does kind of blend? You know, if you don't have certain colours, there will always be something that will kind of work with it. Right, on this one, I'm going to start at the bottom, I think. And I'm going to lay one kind of over this side. I'm going to have to hover. I'm lurking over the top of my camera now. And we'll work our way up. Just leaving a little gap in between. I do like this print. Crushed curry is not a colour. I don't even know if I have any crushed curry cardstock. I have the ink pad, definitely, but not sure about cardstock. Might have a sheet or two. Quite a deep, kind of a bumblebee-ish. Not sure if they're straight, but I don't think you'll really see. So I've just layered those down. And then we're going to pop this one straight over the top. He's having a little scratch now. Over this side. Like that. Make sure it's stuck. And then done some bits ahead of time. So do you remember these that I stamped? I've already coloured. He looks a bit like he's bled a little bit. Don't mean that in a bad way, I just mean I've obviously coloured him a bit quick. That one doesn't look too bad. Can you see here, there's a little bit of a bleed down there from the memento. That's why I always recommend, and I've done this one ahead of time, to stamp your images ahead of time and let the ink absorb into the cardstock, because the alcohol will try and pull it out. Right, let's give this one a little curl. That made me think of Curly from the Farmyard Tales. You probably will wonder what the heck I'm talking about, but Usborne books, if you know of Usborne books, I had loads of Usborne books for my children when they were little, and I've kept all of them, and the grandchildren enjoy them now, which is very much, I love that they're reading the same books that my children had. But one of the characters in there's a little pig, and he's called Curly. And that was what made me think of Curly the pig. The mind, the way it works is strange, isn't it? And then we'll add one little piggy down here. He comes bearing gifts. Now I just want to pop a little bit of Tombow behind that balloon, just to anchor it down a bit, and then ahead of time, oh, I didn't do it ahead of time. We'll colour this one really quickly standing up, and it's not too tricky to cut. Got Tombow on me. Always forget that the bit you tie up. We'll add a little bit of dark just around here, and see if we can just pull those two in a bit without making it look too obvious. And we'll just snip that one off. I've got some coloured in, but I've done them in So Saffron, and I wanted this one to be Fresh Freesia because there's quite a bit of yellow going on. So just quickly trim around. Careful not to chop off that knot. Dimensional behind, and then we'll pop that over the top. What else do we need? Oh, cake. Give it a little curl. Now, it's a bit awkward to get this little piggy to, didn't think that came off, to hold the cake, because he's supposed to be riding the bike, he's at the kind of the wrong angle, but I kind of figured that if we just pop it there, it does look like he's actually holding it. And then just to finish, we'll add in another flag. So I'm just going to curl that bit one way, that bit that way. Oop, right in the ink. We'll wipe that off later. That's what happens when you leave all of your ink pads open. And we'll pop that one as if it's tied to the string of the balloon. We just want to finish with a couple of flowers. This one is definitely my favourite. Give them a curl and then a squidge. Still got the middle parts in here. My back is definitely not enjoying stooping over this desk this morning. That was all the weeding, and I'm sure that is something in there. I've got various piercings in my hand from the hawthorn. Didn't that make you jump as well? I do wear quite thick gloves. My Tombow has just gone messy on the end. I hate it when that happens. I'm just going to wipe that off and make it much cleaner to use. When you clean the end off your Tombow, you just have so much more control of where it's going. So just lay those down. Yeah, but I did a really good job. I was really pleased with the tidying up I did on the border. Jason washed off the greenhouse for me, bless him. I did begin to help. And I wasn't intentionally being rubbish with my help, but he did turn around to me and say, why don't I do this job and you carry on with the gardening? I was like, yes, okay. I was up a ladder with a brush trying to clean off the glass at the top of the greenhouse. And it was hard because the ladder, you know, was a bit wobbly and I was having to lean right over to reach because the brush handle wasn't that long. I was trying not to fall off and apply enough pressure to the brush to actually clean the glass. So yeah, he did a great job anyway. It's looking nice and clean. I just need to give all the glass a wipe on the inside just to finish it off. So I'm just adding, oh, the glue dot's coming off the back of that one. I think it's okay. Let's press those down. Yep, so I've got a nice clean, sparkly greenhouse. And there we go. A really fun birthday card. Lots of fussy cutting, but if you don't mind fussy cutting, it just means that you can use the piggies in different ways rather than, you know, having them sat on the bike. So let's close up these inks. So that we don't drop anything else in them. Give those a clean off in a minute. And bring back in. Here's my original. It's pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. Make a bit of room. Tidy the desk. Always nice to have a tidy desk to work with. Got all of these cards. Which one's your favourite? Do you like the pop of Starry Sky? Do you like just the little piggy on his own? I think this is definitely my favourite. The papers make it, don't they? The papers bring life. But like I've said, imagine with your own colour combination, whatever pattern paper you've got, pull it out and be inspired from that. You know, I've literally used 3 colours with a bit of addition from the So Saffron. So thank you all for joining me this morning. It's been lovely crafting with you and having conversation. Remember, we have the last chance list still going, so there are lots of amazing items reduced. And plus we have our buy one, get one half price on our kits as well. So definitely take a look at that. We've got a couple of new ones there, the robot and the kindness cards. So definitely head over and have a look at those. I will be back with you next Tuesday. I don't know what I'm using yet. Never do. Well, it's a whole week away. I've got plenty of other things to be doing before I'm even thinking about what we're doing next week. So hope you've enjoyed the time together this morning. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will be back with you all very soon. So bye for now.